Hello, everyone. This is Phil Yeski, Science and Alliance Officer at the United Mitochondrial Disease Foundation. And just wanted to share with you today a little bit of information about an exciting new addition to our symposium this year taking place at Mitochondrial Medicine 2023. It's called the Clinical Research Pavilion. And I'd like to share a little bit with you about what we're doing in a clinical research pavilion, and then bring in one of the investigators to talk about one of the studies that's taking place there. So as you can see on the slide, our goal with the Clinical Research Pavilion is to capture patient data. For those of you planning to attend the symposium, this will be an opportunity to participate in clinical research. But importantly, this is also about improving clinical trials for mitochondrial disease. So we'll be collecting data and learning how to run more effective clinical trials, all with the hope of getting those treatments and cures that we all want for mitochondrial disease. So today I'm going to be joined by one of the investigators for one of the studies that will be in the Clinical Research Pavilion, and that's Dr. Zarzuela Zulkifli Cunningham. Please join me, Zuela. I think all your patients know you as Dr. Z. Thank you for all you do for our patients. Really great to have you join and talk a little bit about the study that you're going to be hosting in the Clinical Research Pavilion, this motor skill assessment study. Maybe you could just briefly tell our audience a little bit about the study.
Yeah, definitely. Hi, everyone. It's Dr. Z here. So we are very excited to be bringing the team from CHOP, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. It's going to be 3 physical therapists, research assistants, myself, going to be in the Clinical Research Pavilion area, which will be cordoned off, so separate to the rest of the open conference. So it'll be private space, where we are planning to conduct for the very first time at a UMDF conference clinical assessments for clinical research, with the objective of collecting data in patients in real time in order to understand how to best capture your data in a clinical trials. Okay, so the ultimate objective is to improve our outcome measures used in a clinical trial for mitochondrial myopathy or mitochondrial disease. And this is applicable to children and adults, by the way, which is a very big objective of ours. So we do not just conduct clinical research in a particular age group, it's always across the age group. So what we're gonna do through Wednesday through Saturday is be there, first of all, in person. And we hope that you will either sign up or we will welcome anybody walking by and dropping in if you are interested. We hope in order to have us essentially conduct our physical therapy objective measures that we do routinely at CHOP on all of our patients. We're collecting your 6-minute walk test data, which you've probably heard and will hear of in this clinical trial session. We'll be collecting your muscle strength data, your balance. So all of these assessments are conducted by fully trained pediatric and adult physical therapists who work at CHOP. These are very experienced physical therapists who particularly conduct assessments in our patients in our mitochondrial medicine frontier program, but also are trained in clinical research and clinical trials in other disorders, because this is all a very new outcome measure development is a fairly new effort in mitochondrial disease. And so what we're trying to do is basically first use the platform that we already have, which is an established, validated outcome measure, which we call Mitochondrial Myopathy Composite Assessment Tool, or the MMCOAS. This is a 30-minute clinical assessment that measures all of the domains that I mentioned: strength, balance, dexterity, how you use your fingers, and your strength and your exercise intolerance. But now, for the first time, we're going to be teaming that up with digital wearables. So the wearables are, they sound like you're wearing them on your body, but really the main equipment is in fact a mat where you're going to be walking on while you're doing the 6-minute walk test. That will, in essence, give us a signature of your muscle fatigue. We're also going to be measuring your balance in a very accurate way digitally in combination with our clinical balance assessments, right? So the idea is that we understand what the clinical assessments look like in mitochondrial disease, but now with new digital technology, we're hoping to enhance the accuracy and the sensitivity of those assessments, which will be absolutely essential for our natural history studies and more so for our clinical trials.
Yeah, this is really exciting. And we're estimating we would need about 45 minutes of someone's time to conduct the assessment.
That's right, 45 minutes. If you come in, please don't come in unprepared. So it's better if you have a full tummy, not hungry. If you're feeling like you're having a great day, if you are going to be dressed appropriately, so comfortable clothes, loose clothing, shoes that can be taken off. It's okay if you need a walker device. We can absolutely accommodate to that. And come preferably with a relative or a friend or somebody to accompany you. That would always be best, because if it might make you feel more comfortable, but also for your safety. So we encourage all of that. There's space for yourself and your family members. Here I am just going to divert 1 second and just state it's not only patients that we're looking for, right, Phil? We're encouraging unaffected,
Yes.
so unaffected and healthy volunteer family members, so siblings, grandparents, parents, anyone, because the data that we collect is going to be most informative in the patients, but it needs to be compared against the age-matched healthy control. So we need children, adolescents, adults, senior people who are unaffected, healthy volunteers in order to make the data in our patients that we collect more meaningful.
I think there's a secondary benefit too. One of our goals is to educate our broader mitochondrial disease community about clinical trials. And even if you're not a patient yourself, it's helpful, right, to come in, look at how assessments like this take place. How are data captured? It might make you feel more comfortable, right, when a loved one makes a decision or has an opportunity to participate in a clinical trial. So we really encourage both healthy controls and patients to sign up for this.
That's right. None of our assessments are designed to be difficult, not feasible. They're not designed to make you uncomfortable. And they're absolutely not there to highlight your difficulties. They are there objectively to quantify what you may or may not be aware of, to be honest. And then hopefully we'll be able to show what the effects are before and after intervention, drug intervention in a clinical trial. And the point that Phil made is really important, because if you are to accompany your family member who is affected with mitochondrial disease to a clinical trial, it actually is incredibly helpful to understand what the clinical assessments entail in order to help be prepared for those assessments on the study visit A. Sometimes patients are not realizing that they should not eat just before and can't turn up with a full stomach when they have these assessments, because that's just going to make you uncomfortable. On the flip side, you shouldn't have a completely empty stomach and you shouldn't be hungry. So, maybe 1 or 2 hours after some food, that's probably the perfect time. If you have clothes that make you feel too hot or too cold, that's also going to make you feel uncomfortable and affect your assessments. So all of this is part of learning for you and for us really, at the conference. I imagine, Phil, at the end of this conference, aside from the data we collect, we're going to understand feasibility. We're going to understand what's needed in order to ensure our patients are comfortable when they have these assessments conducted.
Yeah, it really is the beginning of a journey towards improving clinical trials over time. But ultimately, it's moving that needle towards those therapeutics, those treatments and cures that we're looking for mitochondrial disease. Maybe briefly, just talk about good candidates to participate in the study, right? I think we've agreed they should have a genetically confirmed form of mitochondrial disease. And we're going to talk a little bit about how you get started on expressing interest in participating in the Clinical Research Pavilion and even getting into the study in a bit, but they should be genetically confirmed. I wonder, we'll have a lot of patients that are joining us, Zuela, at the conference that may have a vision disorder like Leber's hereditary optic neuropathy. Would they be candidates for this study, or is this more focused on those with ambulatory issues?
Yeah, no, these are terrific questions. And so I would say the first thing to share for everybody's education, if and when you want to participate in a clinical trial, being eligible is very much the fundamental basis of any study, is to ensure that we're studying kind of the same thing. So the only eligible need is to have a genetic confirmation. If you come to the conference with your lab slip confirmation of your genetic tests, that would really be a huge help in terms of allowing us to proceed with the consent, and so forth, and make it a lot more effective and quick. We are seeking genetic confirmation because for a very important reason. If we are going to publish this data, just so you know, in terms of reviewers, it is necessary to show that we're studying and comparing apples to apples and not apples to oranges, okay? It doesn't mean that this is not an assessment that is not going to be relevant to anybody without a genetic confirmation, because in clinic, we obviously provide this assessment, make this available to anyone who comes in for a clinical evaluation. But for a study to be published, this is what we require. We do need, I'm afraid, ambulatory patients, because a big part of the assessment is a 6-minute walk test with the gait right measurement, where we're measuring your how you walk on what's called a Xenomat. That's the digital assessment part of the walk. Mm-hmm. We are seeking anyone who is ambulatory, so anyone from children to adulthood. And if you have vision loss, that is absolutely okay. I have to say, Phil, I'm glad you mentioned this. This is actually a big interest of ours to have patients who are visually impaired, because I'm often asked as a mitochondrial myopathy physician whether visual impairment might be a problem for myopathy assessments. And we've done it in clinic successfully in patients with visual impairment. If I am able to collect more data at this conference, I think that would be a big help for anybody interested, because we might be able to show the community what is feasible in patients with visual impairment. And if myopathy assessments is part of that, that's a huge win.
Well, that's great. That's really helpful, I think, for, again, the audience to understand the population of patients that you're looking for. You know, I think if you're interested at this point, this is the opportunity now to find out more information. Again, these assessments will be running Wednesday through Saturday. We know most of the patients don't arrive till Thursday, but if you come in early, there will be times available on Wednesday as well. But Thursday through Saturday, the Prime Family Program, there'll be time slots available for all of these various studies. And we're going to follow up with additional videos and talk about the other studies you see shown on the screen here. For now, I'm going to thank Dr. Z for her time, for that explanation. Really look forward to seeing you in Charlotte and being a part of this first Clinical Research Pavilion. Thank you, Zuela.
Absolutely. And thank you for inviting me, and hope to see you all there.
Absolutely. So to get started with the Clinical Research Pavilion, the first thing we'd like to ask all of you to do is to consider joining Mitoshare if you're not already a participant in Mitoshare. It will be the first step. This is clinical research that we're conducting, and Mitoshare is a clinical research database. So you see the QR code on the screen, also the link below to find out more. Please join Mitoshare, and you will see a brief survey to determine your eligibility for the Clinical Research Pavilion. You can also find out more information by visiting our symposium webpage for Mitochondrial Medicine 2023. On that webpage, you'll find an interest form to sign out that will ask for a little bit of information, and then one of my colleagues, probably Nicole Wilson, our Mitoshare registry coordinator, will get in touch with you to discuss the details of the studies and your ability to participate. So thanks everybody for watching this video. We're going to have additional videos where we talk about the other studies involved in the Clinical Research Pavilion as we move closer to symposium, and I look forward to seeing you, as many of you as possible, in Charlotte.